Who gets to decide who the hell you are? Who gets to decide what success looks like for you? What a good partner looks like? What a respectable person looks like? Who gets to decide what parts of ourselves that are acceptable and what parts are hidden? Because the moment we enter this world, we are surrounded by messages that says who we are supposed to become. And some of those messages come from family, some of them come from cultures, some of them come from traditions passed down from generations, and some even come from the experiences, that shaped us. Now, don't get me wrong, many of those things come from a place of love, of protection, a place of, wanting us to belong, but they're based from their experiences. And then before we even realize it, we kind of become so focused on belonging that we kind of lose touch of who we really are. And this is where the solar plexus work begins. Now, the solar plexus is, the place of confidence, self confidence, and willpower, and discipline, self esteem, personal power. And those are all beautiful parts and expressions of that energy. The solar plexus asks, who gets to decide who I become? Because personal power is not about being the loudest or the meanest or the most popular person in the room. That's not self confidence, that's ego. Because ego isn't about controlling others, it's not about needing everybody to agree with you. Personal power is the ability to stand in your own truth, regardless of who understands it. And I know for me personally, one of the hardest things that I've had to do is learning how to trust my own inner voice. Because we're conditioned to look outside of ourselves for the answers. We ask other people what they think. We compare ourselves to other people. We question our own choices. We shrink parts of ourselves to make other people feel more comfortable. And little by little, without even realizing it, we can hand away little parts of our authority. And it's not because we're weak, it's because we're human. I mean, regardless of who we are, we do want to belong to something. But here's something we're sitting with. What happens when that version of yourself that everybody else approves of doesn't make you feel happy or alive? What happens when you become so good at wearing that mask that you forget what taking it off feels like? Many of us learn how to keep the peace. We learn that version of us that doesn't ask for too much, the version that says, I'm fine, because you don't want your problems to be other people's burdens. So I want to be clear that sometimes those masks do protect us, and so sometimes they are necessary. Sometimes they help us survive chapters of our lives that we probably couldn't have without them. So there's no shame in it at all. But then we have to ask, is this mask still protecting me, or is it keeping, you know, a part of me hidden? Because the solar plexus isn't about becoming somebody new. It's about remembering who you are before you were told who you should be. Before everybody else's expectations landed upon you. Before the labels. Before the fear. Before the judgment. Before you learn to measure your worth by what you've accomplished, or by what you provide, or how comfortable you made everybody else feel. Now, here's where fire comes in. And fire's always fascinated me. Of course, I'm a Leo. I'm a fire sign, so maybe that's why. I don't know. Because fire doesn't just destroy things, it transforms things. Inside a forge, the fire doesn't destroy the metal, it reveals what metal can become. It strengthens it, it reshapes it. It brings out something that was already there. And we're a little like that. Life brings heat, challenges, losses, failures, change. Moments that test everything that we thought we knew about ourselves. But those moments don't define us, they shape us. They reveal us. So what happens when we lose connection with our solar plexus? Maybe it's constantly needing approval before, actually trusting yourself. Maybe it's feeling like an imposter. Maybe it's when you say yes, when your whole entire body is saying, nope, don't do it. Maybe it's apologizing for having needs. Maybe it's forgetting that your voice matters. These are not character flaws. All it means is that somewhere along the way you have learned to give away pieces of your power. Now, healing the solar plexus doesn't mean becoming fearless. It's learning to move with fear beside you. It means choosing yourself, even when your voice shakes. It means that you can sit with the consequences of, becoming who you are. And it means realizing that you don't need permission to exist. So who does get to decide who I am? It's not the past. It's not someone else's expectations. It's not fear. It's me. You get to decide who you are. Because your fire was never meant to burn for someone else's approval. It was meant to light your path.